Greetings, it's Compiler and welcome to Introduction to Blender for Game Developer series. In this video we will look through the most basic and essential tools in Modelling Workspace, or an edit mode if you want, which will allow you, first and foremost, to modify any existing models, and of course to do many more things, opening your way to 3D modeling itself. First of all, what we have to do is to move an object from Layout mode, Layout Workspace, to Modeling Workspace. How to do that? First of all, you have to select an object. The one that has an outline is selected one, for example here. And now, simply enough, I can just click in the top menu bar on the Modeling tab. So if I do that, I'm transferred to the Modeling Workspace and of course to the Edit mode where I can modify an object or a mesh. And of course, to go back to layout, I can just click on the layout tab. It is not completely efficient because, for example, if I move my camera right here and I would like to modify the object exactly, for example, at this corner, if I go to modeling, I will lose my camera position. Of course, it still stays there in layout, but it's not transferred to the modeling. So basically here I would have to also move the camera position in order to look at this furthest corner, for example. So as you may see, it's not that efficient, and because of that there exists another way. For example, here in left top corner we have object mode fold out. If I open it up, I will see that there is a list of other modes. So for example here, the second one, we have edit mode. If I click on that, I will see exactly the same thing as we did in Modeling Workspace, but right now I still have the same camera position. And of course, to go back to object mode, I once again unfold it and select object mode here. So at some point you might realize that you may want to perform this operation, like from going back and forth to object mode, from edit to edit mode, etc., several times a minute, or maybe hundreds of times per minute. And of course, going back to this left top corner and changing it in a fold out is not as efficient. So basically what you can do is to select an object and of course just press tab on your keyboard. If you do that, you will go exactly to edit mode, and once again pressing tab will allow you to go back to the object mode. So in the modeling workspace here, or in the edit mode specifically, as we can see, the layout of the application is pretty much the same, and of course on the left side we still have this huge list of tools. Of course, previously we had only several of them available, for example like transform tools, which will look like at the in a minute. But for now, let's have a look at what's exactly different, because if I will, for example, select the movement tool, I will be able to perform the movement. But why do we need the modeling workspace? For example, here, as you can see, I can by default select each specific individual vertex. Okay, so basically, for example here, and if I would like to move that, I will move this exact vertex. So as you can see, in layout mode, if I'll use movement tool, I will be able to move an object on the world. Here, if I select, for example, everything, I can do it either by just holding left mouse button and dragging it in order to draw a selection box, and of course it will leave still something unselected. In such case, if I want to multi-select something, I can hold shift, and if I hold shift and left drag and click, I will be able to multi-select and add objects to my selection. So for example here, if I've selected everything, I can move the whole object. And the same thing can be done inside of the layout workspace. I can still move the whole object. So what's the difference? Why I can't move it, for example here? Why should I go to the modeling? As you might notice here, there is a yellow dot inside the coordinate system, the yellow dot of the object. If I move it, the yellow dot moves. Yeah, if I deselect it, it's clearly visible. This dot is a pivot. yeah, the origin of the object. So basically right now in layout, if I move that, I'm moving the pivot of the object. If we'll go to the modeling and move things around, the pivot, as you can see, stays in the same place. So basically right now, I've just offset the cube from its pivot by some distance. Okay, so basically in layout, we just set up its final position of the object, and in modeling, we can modify an object relative to its origin. Yeah, and of course, in order to select everything in the scene, you might not just drag it and rotate the camera and shift because it may be tiresome at some point. You can just press A. So if you press A on the keyboard, you will be able to select everything that is on the scene, that is selectable. In the edit mode, you can select only one object or several objects if you've moved them here. So basically everything that you can select here is selected by A. Yeah, in layout or in object mode, pressing A will select everything on this scene. So the movement tools, as you could have seen, if you select several vertices, allows you to move, for example, either one vertex somewhere if you want, or selecting several of them allows you to modify all of them at the same time, yeah, by the same amount. So basically right now, if I select one vertex and select the other, the adjacent one, I'm not only selecting one vertex or just two vertices, I'm selecting an edge between them. The edge is a connection between vertices. So basically right now I have selected the edge between the vertices, and if I will do something, I will modify the whole edge. And of course you can go here. If I select the third vertex, I will be able to modify two edges at the same time. Of course, rotation and scale tool works the same way as they were inside of our layout workspace. And of course, the same way, like the origin of our operation is also manageable and changeable here. Yeah, at the top, for example, transforming pivot point, we can go to 3D cursor and I will be able to scale object relative to 3D cursor, for example. Yes, in order to make the scale more uniform in this case. Okay. So now we have something like that. And of course, as I said, right now, if you select several adjacent vertices, of course you may select different ones that are not connected by any way, and it will still allow you to move. But if you select adjacent ones, it allows you to select the whole edge. And of course, as you may notice, selecting edges this way by holding, just selecting vertices, holding shift selecting vertices, or even here, if we select the loop of those vertices, yeah, the loop of edges, we will select the whole face. And of course, as you may notice, it is kind of problematic to select everything this way just by selecting vertices. So for that, we have several selection modes. And the first, as you may notice, the default one is called vertex selection mode. Selection modes can be changed here in the left top corner near the edit mode. We have those three buttons. Yeah, only one of them is selectable. So basically for now we have vertex selection mode. If I select the next one, I will go to edge selection. So right now I can only select edges, and of course I will be able to move edges around. And it is much faster than previously. And of course the last one allows you to select only faces of the object, which is pretty nice. Of course, each of those selection modes allows you to perform different things, but we will talk about them a little bit later. For now, feel free to play around with transform tools inside of the object mode, of the edit mode, sorry, and have a look at what you can achieve just by having them. Of course, it's not much, but it's right enough to get you comfortable, because without that, there is no point in trying any further without feeling comfortable in using those tools. And of course, changing the selection mode over here. And of course, Blender wouldn't be Blender without a set of shortcuts. So basically, if you wouldn't like to press over here to change selection mode, you can always use your numbers on the keyboard. If you press 1, you will go to vertex selection mode. If you press 2, you will go to edge selection mode. 3 allows you to go to the face mode. So this is the concern in this video. Try to play around and feel comfortable with those transform tools and of course selection modes before going to the next video, because then we will have a look at more advanced tools which allow you to modify exactly the object. Thus, if you found this video interesting or any helpful, give a like, post a comment and of course subscribe. So thank you for watching and see you in the next video.